Hi, everybody. Welcome to Two Idiots and a Guest Make NFL Predictions. I'm going in alone tonight. It's just me, my other idiot, my broadcast partner, Chuck Kulchock. He could not be with me tonight. And our other guests we've had throughout the year, none of them could be on tonight. So it's just me tonight. I'll make my NFL picks for the 16 NFL games this weekend and the Ohio State-Michigan game. So last week, it was Chuck, myself, and Mateo, Paul, and we made our picks. This week, though, I want to remind you that the show is brought to you by CT Roofing and Power Wash, the official roofer and power wash of the Lake County Sentinel. 440-278-0506 for an estimate to get your roof fixed, your siding replaced, work on your deck, power wash, anything like that. So here we go. There's a lot to talk about. 16 games this week. They forego the buys the NFL does on this weekend. So every team is in action. Next weekend will be the final buy for, I think, at least a couple teams. Well, at least two teams, maybe four. But so we start off tomorrow afternoon at noon in Detroit, as we always do. I think it's noon. It could be 1 o'clock. It used to be noon when I was a kid. It was absolutely noon. I'm not sure now. It's at 1 o'clock. Green Bay at Detroit tomorrow, and even though, the Lions have stumbled a little bit, I still think they're the better team here. Every season, it seems like, since Matt LaFleur, and even before Matt LaFleur, even when Mike McCarthy was their head coach, everybody wants to pick the Packers to be a Super Bowl contender. Everybody. And then, this year they traded for Micah Parsons, so my God, of course they're the greatest defensive team in the history of the earth. But I'm picking the Lions tomorrow. The Lions have not done well on Thanksgiving in the last, several years. But I think that do well tomorrow. Just because I think they're the better team. I just don't think that the Detroit Lions are a worse team than the Green Bay Packers. People like I said, people always want to act like the Packers are going to win the whole thing every year, and then they don't. But I think Detroit is definitely the better team. I have to agree with Owen Harmon. He's watching us on TikTok. I just think they're the better team. I'm not saying Green Bay's not a good team, but I think Detroit's the better team. So it'll be interesting. The Lions record all time is 38, 45-2 on Thanksgiving. So this is the 86th renewal of the Thanksgiving matchup for the Lions. There have been some great, games. But the Lions are only 7-18 this century. on Thanksgiving Day. So entering the 20th century, they were over 500 on Thanksgiving Day. But I think they'll get one step closer to being 500 on Thanksgiving Day tomorrow when they defeat the Green Bay Packers. So let's move on to the Cowboys and the Chiefs. The Cowboys offense has been great lately. They've played great. And Dak Prescott's looked good. I've always thought Dak Prescott was overrated somewhat, but he's played really well lately. So how can you doubt what he's done? So I think, with that being said, I think, the Chiefs they're in a fight for their life, right? The Chiefs, they're fighting for their life right now. They're fighting to make the playoffs. We're talking about this team that's been a Super Bowl favorite every year for like the last, I think it's like 8 years now. So they're fighting for their lives. So I think it's going to be difficult for Dallas to slow down that Chiefs offense. I think Andy Reid's going to have a few things up his sleeve. And I think the Chiefs win this game. As for Thanksgiving Day records, the Dallas Cowboys are 34-22-1 on Thanksgiving. So it'll be interesting to see, if the game is close or not. I'll tell you what, I remember some crazy Thanksgiving games where the Cowboys looked like they were going to win, then they lost, and then, other things. Gosh, they played 57 times on Thanksgiving. Wow. If it is 57 consecutive years on Thanksgiving, then I've been alive for all of them. This will be the 58th, and I'm 58 years old. So Jace Satx, SATX, says that the Cowboys will win against the Chiefs. Well, I think the Chiefs will win. So we'll see. I think it's going to be it should be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. And I think it'll be a really good game. So we're going to see the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals will play on Thanksgiving Day. And, it seems like the Ravens now have a hold on this Thanksgiving night game. I'm pretty sure that they've played on Thanksgiving night now several years in a row now. I could be wrong. We're going to try to see if I can find it. It just seems in my mind that they've played a lot on Thanksgiving. But what we have here is we're gonna take a look. I'm looking it up. I hate picking the Ravens. I do. I hate the Ravens. I hate picking them, but I think I'm going to have to pick them in this game. The Ravens they did not play on Thanksgiving last year or the year before. I swear they did. I swear they'd been playing on Thanksgiving. Well, I guess I'm wrong about that, aren't I? Yeah. My fault. I guess maybe on Christmas. They played on Christmas. I don't know. It seems like they have played a lot on Thanksgiving, but I'm wrong. I'm looking here. I can't see when they played last on in this primetime game on Thanksgiving. It looks like 2013, so it's been quite a while. But unfortunately, I feel like the Ravens will beat Joe Burrow in his return. I really hate to say that. How about, before we go any further with the picks, I want to give you the results from last week from myself, Chuck Kulchock, and Mateo Paul. So I won 12-3 last week, as did Mateo. Mateo was starting to doubt himself. He had a couple bad weeks, and he was starting to doubt himself, but nope, not last week. Mateo and I tied at 12-3, the NFL games and the Ohio State game, and Chuck came in second. He also did well. He was 12-4, or 11-4. So it was a good week for everybody last week. So let's move on to the next game. Bears and Eagles. Are the Bears as good as their record? Well, I mean, we could doubt them and say that they're not. But, we are what our record says we are, right? And they're 8-3. But I still don't trust them. I feel like the Eagles are going to win this one and win this one easy. This is the Black Friday game, which I do not partake in. I do not watch. I will maybe listen to it if I'm driving, but I will not watch the Black Friday game. I don't believe in it. So I'm taking the Eagles. The next game we've got is the Jaguars and the Titans, which will be a quick one here. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. But you never know. Whenever you think it's a sure thing, it's not a sure thing. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville. We have the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. C.J. Stroud is coming back. As much as I would like to pick the Texans, and I'm not picking against the Texans because Stroud's coming back, because I think Stroud is a really good quarterback. But I'll tell you what, Davis Longneck Mills has proven that he's a good quarterback too. And he probably could start for a number of NFL teams. So, but I'm going to go with the Colts. I still think Daniel Jones and the Colts will beat them. So then, another quick game here. Saints at Dolphins. I think the Dolphins win this one easily. I think they fixed a lot of things, the Dolphins, and the Saints are just not a very good football team. So I think the Dolphins win this. The next quick game, Falcons at Jets. As much as I would love to pick the New York Jets in this game, I cannot. I just can't. They're not good. They're not good. Falcons aren't great either. But are the Falcons better than the Cleveland Browns, who the Jets beat? Yes, they're definitely better than the Cleveland Browns. So here we go. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Now we have another quick game, because I think it'll be quick, because the Rams are just really good right now. And they just beat the crap out of my Buccaneers last week. So I think they destroy the Panthers, even though it's in Carolina. So then we move on to the Vikings at the Seahawks. Do you think Sam Darnold's going to want to win this game? He gave the Vikings their best season since 1998 last year. And then they said, bye-bye, we don't need you. We're going to go with the kid. And now they're under 500. You know, they've been hovering around 500 all year. So, you know, I think Sam Darnold, he's played great all year. You know, the Vikings are 4-7. I think easily the Seahawks win this game with pretty much no problem. And then we have the Bills-Steelers. This game will be a good game just because the Steelers always put up a good fight almost every week. I mean, they've had a couple duds, but they always put up a good fight. The Bills like to play down to their competition, I think. And let's face it, that's playing down to their competition. The Steelers are not as good as the Bills, okay? They're not. So I'm going to go with the Bills here. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to go with the Bills. Raiders at Chargers. I had a difficult time with this one. I was going to pick the Raiders, but I was like, well, the Raiders lost to the Browns. They stink. They lost to the Browns. So I have to go with the Chargers. Next, we have the Broncos at the Commanders. I think this game's going to be a better game than people think. But I also think that the Commanders are having a tough year. And I just think that, even though I hate to say it about Sean Payton, he's got the Broncos going in the right direction. And I think the magic has worn off from Dan Quinn in Washington. You know, they improved their roster in the offseason, and their team is worse. And don't give me all the injury crap. Every team in the NFL has injuries. Every team has injuries. You know what I mean? So don't give me the injury crap with the Commanders. You know, a lot of other teams have had injuries too. So let's turn it around. Maybe 2 wins. Maybe they get 2 more wins because of the injuries. They're still 5-6. I think it's typical Dan Quinn. He gets great results at first, and then it wears off. I don't think he's a great coach. I don't think he's a great head coach. I know some people think he's amazing. I don't think he is. I don't think Dan Quinn is a great head coach. He's a really good defensive coordinator. I'll give him that, with his hat on backwards and all that crap, all that hype stuff, you know. But I just think that hype goes away, you know, after the initial bounce it gets. I just don't think he's that good. So I believe that the Broncos beat the Commanders. Quick one here, Giants-Patriots. Patriots should win this one easy, and I'm picking them, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, but I think the Patriots should win this, no problem. I'm looking for the next game here, the Cardinals at the Buccaneers. I'm looking for a bounce-back game from Tampa. They look like crap. They've looked like complete crap the last couple weeks. You know, the offense hasn't looked good either. And like I said, I'm not using injuries as an excuse, because they said there's no excuse for the Commanders, so there's no excuse for the Buccaneers. Hopefully Baker Mayfield plays for the Buccaneers. I hope so. Being a Bucs fan, I hope he does. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers. If they lose this one, I'm going to go as far as to say this. If they lose this game, they don't make the playoffs. I'm going to say that. Even though they're first place in their division. If they don't win this game, they will not make the playoffs. So let's, Bucky Irving's supposed to be back. Hopefully Baker Mayfield plays. Chris Godwin should get more targets this week. That kind of stuff helps. I don't know. The defense is just terrible, though. It's just so bad. I mean, I can't believe how bad it is. How about that? I can't believe it's as bad as it is. It's just disgusting to watch. It really pisses me off to watch. As a Buccaneers fan, it really pisses me off. So, I see we have a comment here. Brandon Ott, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Brandon. But I think that I think the Buccaneers win this game. I'm hoping that they win this game. But I also go as far as to say if they lose this game, they will not make the playoffs. It'll end their streak of 5 straight years. So if they don't win this one, they don't deserve to be a playoff team. Okay, they don't. The Cardinals are the Cardinals. Okay, come on, they're the Cardinals. They're not a good team. Of course, the Buccaneers the last several weeks have not played like a good team. But I think it's in disarray in Arizona. They're 3-8. Tampa Bay should win this game. If they can't win this game, they don't deserve to be a playoff team. I don't know how many times I can say that. The disgusting defense is the reason they're 6-5. If they could play a semblance of a defense, they'd probably be 8-3 right now, but they're not. So that's what I got in that one. We have the 49ers Browns. Okay. I have never seen a city divided or a fan base divided like they're divided over Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. I've never seen a fan base hate a quarterback for no good reason before he even played like they hated Dylan Gabriel. Simply because Sanders was their guy. Okay. All right. So he's their guy. He won on Sunday, becoming the first Browns quarterback to win since 95 in their first start. Big deal. I'm just serious. I'm going to say it. Big deal. How good have the Browns been? How many good quarterbacks have the Browns have had? Okay? How many good quarterbacks have they had? The reason nobody had won since 95, since Eric Zier, who, by the way, never won another NFL start. Okay. Why hadn't anyone won since then? Because they had terrible starters. They didn't have good, look, yeah, Baker Mayfield ended up being good, but they didn't want him. The Browns fans drove him out of town like he was the worst human being that ever lived. Their golden boy, Johnny Manziel, sucked, right? He sucked. But they wanted him over Brian Hoyer. Oh, they did. I was at a game. I heard them. They wanted him over Brian Hoyer. Oh, they wanted him. They wanted that drug addict alcoholic. Browns fans don't know what they want, or they don't know what's good for them. Sanders had a couple good passes the other day. He did. That long touchdown pass, or that long pass that got them to like the 2-yard line early, was a great pass. Great pass. He looked great on that. You know, he really did. He looked really good on that. Okay. And he had that nice pass also to Jerry Jeudy. The Jeudy, I don't know what the heck he was doing on that. I don't know. But that too. But all the other passes, they were short. They were screen passes. The kind of thing that the Dylan Gabriel haters / Shirer Sanders lovers criticized Gabriel about. But it was okay. It was okay when Sanders did it. Good for Sanders winning his first NFL start. He got the reps. Everyone bitched and complained that, he didn't get the reps. Oh, that's why he didn't do as well when he played the second half, because he didn't get the reps. Well, he got the reps. They played a terrible team, and he won, okay? They did. Well, he got even more reps this week, all right? He did. He got a lot of reps this week. Gabriel's not getting the reps, right? Right? Even though you thought that the backup should get some reps. Now Gabriel probably shouldn't get any reps, right? Because your guy Sanders should get the reps. All right? So he got the reps. He got all the reps. Should do amazing against the 49ers. Right? He's the second coming of, he's the second coming of Tom Brady. He's the second coming of Warren Moon. He's the second coming of Joe Montana, right? That's what I'm hearing. Well, let's see. Let's see this week against a quality defense. You know, Robert Saleh, the 49ers defensive coordinator, was licking his chops all week. He wants to make a statement this weekend. He does. I'm saying 49ers in a blowout. A blowout. And I'm going to say Sanders gets sacked at least 5 times and throws at least 3 interceptions. I don't hate this kid. I have nothing against Shirer Sanders. Never met him. You know, I can't hate him. I never met him. He comes off as a nice kid. He comes off as an overhyped kid to me. He's overhyped because of his dad. I don't dislike him because of his dad. As I said, I don't dislike him. The Browns fan base makes me dislike players more than anybody. They've done it in the past, and they'll do it again. Neil or BGT and a flex, bro. BTJ. Go with him. I would go with him. Yeah, that's who I'd go with, Christian, okay? So that's my thought about Deion, Shirer Sanders, Deion's son. But I do want to know this. I think this should be a question for Cleveland Browns owners. The wonderful Jimmy and D. Haslam. Why wasn't Shirer in your owner's booth? Why was he sitting in the Raiders owner's booth? Why? Why was he sitting in their box? Why wasn't he in yours? Makes me wonder if what I have thought about the Haslams all along is true. I don't understand why Deion Sanders did not sit in the Browns owner's box. Why? Doesn't make sense to me. We're running out of time here. I'm picking the 49ers. I've already said it. And then we got the Ohio State-Michigan game, and I'm going to go with, of course, I'm going to go with Ohio State. They are going to dominate Michigan this weekend like they have never dominated them before. Ryan Day has had enough of losing to Michigan. Ryan Day is a different coach than he was when they played them last year. They destroy them this Saturday at 12 o'clock in Michigan. And damn well they better plant that flag in the middle of that field after they beat them. And if Michigan fans can't handle that, their guys shouldn't have done it last year in Columbus. That's it. I think we're done. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and enjoys a lot of turkey, ham, whatever. I know people eat different things now. But I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. And we'll be back with you with this show next week. And hopefully I'll have some people with me. But have a great Thanksgiving. I don't want to say don't eat too much. Eat too much. And have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL.